isn't that exciting? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome from beautiful Slovakia, from beautiful Bratislava. I've made my way all across to Eastern Europe just to be at the WOF Expo, the World of Freight, the largest meeting of Eastern Europe of freight professionals, of global trade professionals, of customs professionals, of innovators, of entrepreneurs. Everybody who's anyone in Eastern Europe and across Europe is going to be at WOF. And it's going to be a great 3 days. I am so blessed and honored to be here exploring beautiful Bratislava, but also I get to speak and I get to be in 2 panel discussions. One is on the future of blockchain and global trade, and one is on the impact of Brexit on Europe, on Eastern Europe, on the UK. So that's going to be on 2 separate occasions. And obviously, I'm not sure how much I can film during these events. So I thought I will just do the expo here with you. And I'm going to share my presentation that I'm going to deliver later on today in full length so that we're not restricted by time, and we're not restricted by anything really, because at these events there's really hardly any time to do anything, and so what we're doing is we're sharing the whole experience with you on this channel. So if you like that format, please absolutely give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the events that we're going to be posting here, the impressions of Slovakia, Bratislava, and also lots of the talks that we're going to have with lots of really interesting people from all across Europe, including, of course, from Bratislava. So like and subscribe the video if you're interested, and if you like this format, to give me support and give us support and tell us that you want more of this. All right, with that said, let's jump right into the presentation of the future of blockchain in global trade. Here is my view. All right, so I've moved to the top right corner. This is a presentation that I'll be delivering today. Today is the 6th of October 2021, and it is about the future of blockchain in global trade. So if you watch this in like 10 years time, probably you're gonna laugh and go, ah, little did he know, but never mind. So what can we say? Look, I'm going to be sharing a great panel with a lot of fantastic people, and they're all pioneers in the blockchain field. And as you know, blockchain is kind of a weird thing because it's kind of come along a couple of years ago as this immovable and unrefutable ledger where you post information and it's stored on a blockchain. It is decrypted, encrypted, and therefore the information cannot be changed and altered. And so this concept is, of course, in a compliance world really, really useful, because if it can't be altered at the source, well, then that's good at where it needs to go. This is what we are in customs and global trade all about. We need to bring data, information about a status, about the goods, about the people, about the origin, the value, so financial information, transactional information, goods information, all of that needs to be brought to and shared across the world. And it needs to be shared based on trust. So I get documents. These documents I need to look at. I need to then take information, digitalize it, and then put it into a system. And that can now be done not only faster by keying it in only once, but also we can just do it at the source and once. So why would we have a freight agent taking a paper document and put that into a customs declaration if the person who originally sent the goods, say in Manila or in China, could just key it in and that information triggers through all the way to the end state, which is the import into the country of where we want it to go. So with that introduction, let me state by asking you a question. What do you think is the largest trading bloc in the world? Just to get us started, just to get us thinking. What do you think? Is it China? Is it the US? What is it? What do you think? Well, you'd be surprised because it's actually EU. With 900 million consignments and worth 4 trillion a year, the European Union is still today the largest trading bloc in the world. And we have massive volumes. We have, if you compare the data of 2019, we have more than almost 900 million articles that are handled every day across the 2,000 customs offices, 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. They do the import, they do the export, they do the transit. So this means 900 million articles are being shared, and from 900 million articles, we need to have information. And of course, there is a duty element with this, and that brings about, as you can see on the screen, 27 billion euros. So there's a lot of money involved. There's a lot of goods that have to be moved across the EU, and there are lots of customs procedures and processes. And arguably today, we have a lot of global trade business challenges. They are to do with digitalization. That's the whole point of this presentation. But also there's globalization. Now it is much easier to order from across the world, and that brings its own unique challenges. Digitalization, as I mentioned, has to do with a lot of things, moving goods onto the computer, onto the digitalized world, sharing blockchain technology, but also other technology. 3D printing is coming, where all you do is you send a code and it prints the goods. You don't even need to import them anymore physically. And of course, the nature of trade is changing fundamentally. We're moving, you can see this in the e-commerce revolution. So what we have now is I want it now. I order it from, from one of those marketplaces, and it gets to me. How it gets to me, I don't know, but it does get to me. And you don't even know where it's from. You think you order something in one country, but actually it moves half across the world just to get to you. So the nature of trade is changing, like it did in the past when the container was invented, when bulk consignments came on. It's changing again. The one thing that's changing at a very slow rate is the customs clearance and controls. And that's why I'd say with these challenges come opportunities in each of them. And so is it for customs and clearance and controls, but it just grows really slow. And therefore at the moment, it's a prohibitor rather than a accelerator. And that's something we need to stop for sure. So at the moment, when we think of customs, it is the one barrier that stands in our way for global trade. It produces delays, it produces costs, and it produces an unhappy customer if the goods don't arrive in time. And so therefore, we need to address that issue, and blockchain is the perfect place to do it. So with the largest trading bloc in the world, the EU, with 900 million articles being shipped around the EU in some shape or form every day, we can't afford to ignore the one thing that's blocking us, that's delaying us, that's costing us a lot, and that creates unhappy customers, and that's the customs and the border. And therefore, the border is the stumbling block we need to deal with. We need to make the border as transparent as possible. We need to make sure the border essentially goes away, whether we are in the European Union or not. And we need to make sure that when we reach the borders of the world, we are only stopped where it is absolutely necessary. Because of course, we get it, right? The border is not just there to stop us, to cause us delay and cost. It fulfills a function. The customs officers have a vital role to play to protect our societies, our people, our animals, our plants against diseases, against unwanted things, against illicit items, drugs, the likes of it. And they are part of what keeps us safe. Because do you know what's in this teddy? I just love this picture because it just personifies what it is that customs do. But don't forget that this is also a money-making machine for the authorities and the revenue. So customs is not going to go away. And as you can see here, there is so much money at stake that we have to pay, that it's going to be a fight to get to change customs. But it's a noble cause. We've got to make the border as transparent as possible for the legitimate trader. And here it is why I say the border at present is in its current form as a growth stopper. We've got the rules. We've got, and they are so complicated. We've got the Union Customs Code in the EU, just take one region. But it could also be the rules of origin, it could be the valuation rules, it's the customs classification. It's these concepts of customs union, which are great for once you're in it, but if you're not in it and you're coming in it from the outside, it's quite prohibitive. You've got a lot of complicated stuff that you need to deal with, including customs processes and procedures that aim to be helpful, but to get them is actually quite tedious. There's export licensing. There is, like in the food and health safety import licenses. You've got facilitator schemes, but again, then they need to be set up as well. So all of this is a cosmos, a world in itself, and it requires good knowledge, it requires good understanding, it requires everything in order to make sure this border goes away. And of course, once you understand all of this, the world is your oyster. You can now trade around the world because the concepts are largely harmonized to a rather great degree with the WTO and the WCO. So it's a really good idea to think about what you're going to do in order to get rid of the border, which is one of the remaining growth stoppers for a business trading, because you have to deal with all the imports and the export formalities as you see on the screen. So what is it now that we can do here with blockchain, right? The objective is clear. We want to move goods across borders successfully. We know that our challenges include this range of different products that are shipped around the world. There's so many, and each of them, in a way, have different procedures and processes. Well, not all of them, but you know what I mean. You've got to treat a basket of bakery goods different than machine guns. I don't know why I'm thinking about that, but okay, here it is. You also have more and more moves to just-in-time delivery. Hey, where is my stuff? So you got to think about that as well. There's also the challenge of multiple customs declaration that need to be lodged, and the certificates and the paperwork. So you've got to bring certificate of origin, they've got to be stamped, you've got to have the right customs declarations submitted in the right format. And on top of that, you have a complicated set of importing and exporting rules that are ever changing. So all of this together means what? It means the problems are here. This is what we need solving. And now go do it. So what we're saying is blockchain by itself is nice, but it will only find its acceptance in the customs and global trade world if it solves or improves dealing with problems that currently exist, like with anything. If it can do that, then the question would be how and when will it be available, and in what format will it be available? If you sum it all together, it's like anything. Is blockchain a tool that I can leverage in order to achieve 4 main objectives? I need to reach my global customers faster. When I order, when an order is placed, I want to make sure it gets there in time. And I want to make sure there are no undue delays. So I want to make sure I do everything I can to be able to serve my global customers like I serve my domestic customers. Second, wherever possible, I need to cut red tape. I need to reduce bureaucracy, and I need to limit paperwork. This is absolutely essential. Why? Because it creates costs, it creates risks, compliance risks, and it's just annoying. It's just boring as well. In the 21st century, we cannot use paper. I do not, for so many reasons. One of them is economic efficiency, so don't want to do that, so don't. The third objective you cannot do without is to stay compliant and be compliant. So there is no way you're going to have a global business unless you respect the laws of the land. Luckily, they've been harmonized, as I said earlier, as much as possible. So you've got to be compliant, and you've got to commit to being compliant.
And then all of that enables you to do what? It enables you to grow faster, to grow your global business faster, which is ultimately what we want. So these 4 are the challenges. So can blockchain today deliver that? I would say in order to have blockchain accepted in global trade, and we are on that journey right now. We've seen it with the studies of the WCO aimed at customs officials. We've seen it at studies that are done in the foresight module with the European Commission and its project of developing insightful new studies. But we've also seen it with trade. Trade is looking at innovative solutions, but they all have something in common. They are more of an interface at the moment with the blockchain running in the back. So if you put all of this together, what is the requirement to get blockchain accepted in global trade, in my view? I think it has 3 pillars. In the space of trying to make the border as invisible as possible, 3 parties need to join us. Number 1 is the customs authorities worldwide. If they don't accept blockchain, we have no chance. Not only do they need to accept it legally through legislation, but they also need to accept it technologically and operationally. They need to use it, or at least they need to look at it and say, well, how can I benefit from this? This runs under the concept of smart borders right now. So there's a lot of work that's going into digitalizing customs. And at the moment, it's all done. Take the EU and the MAP and the multi-annual strategic plan and the e-customs initiative, ICS, ECS, and the various applications online. All of that is very important, very useful stuff, something that is absolutely necessary to modernize customs. At the same time, does it leverage blockchain? No. Why not? Are we missing a trick here? So without the customs authority saying and seeing and living that blockchain is a reality in their life, it's going to be difficult to get them to say, yes, I embrace this technology. Up next is us. We are so busy. We are so busy doing our thing, growing our businesses, dealing with the compliance, dealing with the movement of goods. Do we really have capacity and time? And are we willing to take the opportunity that blockchain provides in order to look at our business and say, do you know what? At this point, blockchain can really help. Have we done a blockchain business case? Should we do a blockchain business case? So our commitment as business to blockchain will be important. At the same time, our commitment to reiterate to our authorities that when we use this blockchain, we will stay compliant and we will do everything we can to ensure that what we do have is compliant. Blockchain, like any technology, in the wrong hands, might do the wrong things. We need to make sure when we use blockchain, it is to an authorized use and it is to enhance our compliance. So accepting it within our business, using it to enhance our compliance while streamlining our operations and simplifying the movements across borders is really what's in it for us. But as business community, without investment and without time and energy to look at this as a real thing, as a real opportunity, this is not going to work. And finally, you've got the governments worldwide. And this is more of a higher pitch to the world leaders. And therefore, it's great that it sits at the WTO and it's trade facilitation. This is where we grow globally, ideally forever, right? And this is the commitment of bringing blockchain and trade facilitation, maybe through the WTO negotiations together. So without these 3 blocks, without the global governments or the governments of the countries allowing for blockchain to penetrate into business, without the customs authorities accepting it, embracing it, and authorizing it, we as business will not be able to leverage the full opportunities that blockchain provides us. Here you see some of the 2021 work that's currently being done. You've seen that France is investing heavily in a smart border. We've heard about the tier operations to digitalize the tier system. And we also know that Singapore, as always, is being the innovators, is pushing forward with a a blockchain-based e-certificate of origin. It's been operational for a while, but it's great to see that there is a first use case of how you can create certificates of origin that are electronic, and they require a reference, a unique reference hash, if you want, in order to prove that this is originating from this country. But again, as you can see in this case, it says it improves transparency, security, and efficiency in authenticating trade documents. But what good is that if that's not accepted on the other side? If the other side still accepts paper. So you see, without an integrated approach, a global approach, blockchain and global trade is not going to happen. And it is this kind of argument that we discussed in the future of customs in the EU study group. So I was lucky enough to be part of the EU Commission's foresight study group, of reflection of what the EU policy in customs should look like. And we have designed numerous scenarios by which, if the situation was like this, what would the customs border look like? And in an ideal scenario, we would have a world in which blockchain plays a role. So I really recommend that you Google the future of Europe in the EU by 2040, and that's going to be great. So if you sum it all together, I want to conclude. What does the blockchain future look like for customs and global trade? Well, I would imagine it at the present moment, and I'm very happy for you to say, no, we are already further than this. So please go ahead, do that. Tell me about this. I would be thinking that it is a technology that is there, that runs in the background, pretty much like we type something into Google and we don't know what Google does, but it does something, and then the result is good, right? Like Google says, it advances every day, it advances you a little more. It's like an interface that we want. So it will run within a dashboard, and it will do something in the back. That's how I imagine it to be. We don't really know what it does in the back, and we just know that we use it. The key requirement for business, at least from my view, is that we have to move away from paper. It must be a scan, it must be a barcode smartphone, pretty much what we see in the COVID world right now, where we have our apps, and when we go to a restaurant, we're required to scan and then check in that way. So it's kind of like that. And once we validate that certificate of origin, even without looking at it, we only have a barcode. That barcode is enough. Don't know what it says, don't know what data it registers, right? But it is enough. And it must be the same for this technology. I have a barcode, I have a scan, I have a smartphone, I scan it, and just by scanning it, I will have all the information that I need on the certificate of origin. I will basically have my customs declaration in that little decoded scan. The next requirement would be that the data gets keyed in only once. So if I have a commodity code, it's 6 digits, it should be 6 digits around the world. So I will key it in at the source. So if I'm moving from Italy to Scotland, I will key it in Italy, in Rome, once. And then I do not expect an agent to key it in again when I do my export paperwork. And when I do my import paperwork, maybe there are 2 more digits that are special at the import, but that's about the extent of it. And even that can be done at the starting point. When I do have a certificate of origin, I want a little scanner like this. And that is the scan I will place on my paperwork, which is also digital. So I will have the scan or the information all within this one scan thing. And that is it, right? And because it's been validated before, it's been validated by the Chambers of Commerce in Italy that this is of Italian origin, that hash has been put into another block. That block has been linked to another block. So when I have information about that second block, it has verified information from the first, from the rules of origin. So I collate evidence, and that evidence then is in one block linking to all the other evidences. So therefore, all I then have is one scan, and that tells me that we have verified all the various information, commodity code, HS codes, as I said, origin, valuation, and it's all good. Which then allows the customs authority to accept my scan as true. And if that is so, then I could have a major facilitation whereby one scan is enough to customs clear. That is what we need. That is what we don't have right now. But that is what the future should look like, and every effort should be made to investigate how that can be done. And that's why I say we must obtain the data once at its source, and it must carry through to the end. We must have government buy-in. All the government must accept and authorize the use. If we don't have government support, we don't have business support. The goal will be to have no more customs declaration. The goal will be to have one customs system and not 27. Now, I've said enough. I would like to thank you for paying attention to this video. I hope you liked it. If you liked it, give it a like, please. And why don't you put me in the comments down below what you think about blockchain? Where are we? Am I completely wrong? Please do tell me. I'm really interested. I want to know. Don't forget that we're in the business of helping you reach your customers faster. So we do this with advice, consultancy, training. We've got a big range of live, online, and in-house courses. We do customs filings. We do export certificate filing. We do import filing. We do import licensing, the likes of it. And of course, any support as well as trade intelligence. So to know what's hot, to know what laws update happened in your country or in 170 countries around the world, just hit us up and we will create a package for you that works for you and gives you the information you need. So thanks again for your attention. I look forward to talking to you again. And I hope you get a bit of a flavor of what it's like to be in Slovakia, in Bratislava, and to engage with Eastern Europe, with everybody in Europe really, about the beautiful world of freight, of logistics, of moving goods around the European Union and further afield. Thanks for watching. Give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you, hey, maybe at the WOF Expo. All the best. Bye.